What was that? Not me motorboating New England. Sorry if you live there.
Or you're welcome.
Or you're welcome. Hello, friends, and welcome to another video. This week, we're gonna be melting every Homesick State-Scented candle together. It's the Franken-State candle. Now, as some of you guys know, we melt stuff together here on this channel, from every lipstick from Sephora, to every soap from Lush, to every candle from Yankee Candle, to see roughly what the average or most marketable shade, flavor, or scent of those things would be. And we recently launched a collection of candles with one of my favorite candle companies, Homesick, who are famous for their iconic location-based scents that are supposed to transport you to a specific place. So if you've ever wanted to send your nose on a trip to the Swedish ice hotel, Japanese spa theme park, or the fancy lobby of a Vegas casino, you can still check out our Safiya x Homesick candles on homesick.com. But one of the things Homesick is most well known for are their famous US state-scented candles, with the idea that a whiff of their candles could bring you right back to your memories of your home state. And we always thought it would be fun to melt all 50 US state-scented candles together. In fact, it's actually been a highly requested video by you guys over the last few years. And when we announced our collab with Homesick, we saw even more requests for this video in the comments. So we thought we should probably whip back out those melting pots, both so we can see what each of the different states smell like, since I've always been curious, and to see what the midpoint scent of all 50 US states would be, and enter our own state, the Franken-State. Now, I just want to be clear. The candle we're going to be making is, I guess, technically the scent of America, but please do not take this video as an endorsement of anything the current US government is doing, as it is decidedly not. Cue extremely appropriate meltdown of America jokes. By all means, feel free to make them. But for this video, we are hoping for a collecting state quarters, Joshua Weissman state breakfast kind of vibe. Think of it like a nose road trip around the country. Also, as always, even though we are going to be making a giant candle with our Franken candle mixture, we are going to have some extra wax. So we are going to be doing a subscriber giveaway with some mini candles. So if you're interested in winning one, make sure you're subscribed, leave a comment down below, and I'll leave more instructions at the end of the video. So with that, let's do it. Now, unlike with most of our other Franken experiments, Homesick is pretty much only sold online, so we don't need to go anywhere to buy our candles. We can cut straight to the melting. All right, so here I am with many ovens behind me, ready to melt, because it's melting day, people. And as usual, we've broken out our 54 candles into 10 different regional categories and 2 non-regional ones. Yes, I know there are 50 states, but there are 54 candles for reasons I will explain. Now, even though I think the state candle is like Homesick's iconic thing, they seem to be trying to shift their focus away from them. So there were a small number of the candles that were so sold out that neither Homesick nor eBay had them. But if you're from one of those states, don't worry, we have a plan as to how to fill in those gaps. So our 2 non-regional categories are the 6 missing states, which is going to be our last category, and also the states I have personally lived in, which is our first category up. And as for how we're gonna melt these bad boys, we're gonna pretty much follow the Evan and Caitlin Franken Yankee candle method and use our trusty ovens to melt each candle enough so that the wax will just flow out. But since we have a lot less wax this time around, our total wax should fit nicely inside this new melting pot, which is a self-heating one specifically for melting wax. In fact, it's already warm a little bit. I feel warmth from behind and the front. It's warm over here. I'm warm. So we can hopefully avoid a trash man burning arm situation.
I'm the trash man.
And our main objective in the ovens is to liquefy the candles without burning them so hot that they start to lose their scent. So basically our ideal temperature for our wax to be at is between like 170 and 185. That's in between like melting and like scent flying off into the air and disappearing forever. Not quite there yet. So we're gonna melt them slow and steady because we need our Franken candle to be as stinky as possible. All right, we're at like 150 right now. And before we knew it, our first category was ready to go. All right, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Ooh. All right, a little spill. It's okay. Now this category is kind of similar to the Frank and Safiya short we posted, but not exactly the same, as we did use mostly Homesick city candles in there versus states. But one thing that is the same is the abundance of chocolate notes, surprisingly led by my home state of Illinois. The Illinois one I really like, but it is an interesting combo. It's like chocolate, fresh, pavement. I don't think of Illinois as particularly chocolatey, but I do think the mix of flowers and chocolate do kind of give bougie, magnificent Mile in Chicago vibes. Ooh, and then a chunk came out. So for me, it works. He's got Illinois all over him. It's pretty waxy over here. We're all hot wax fetishists, us Illinoisans. It's true. Me and Abraham Lincoln, really into wax play. Next up is Pennsylvania, which is technically Tyler's home state, but I included it because I am now a Pennsylvanian in law. I was always a Benjamin Franklin fan, so sure. I feel comfortable with this. Yeah. And Pennsylvania is also chocolatey. Oh my God, we're a match made in heaven.
Our signs don't match, but our homesick candles do.
That's so real. But I feel like chocolate makes a lot more sense for Pennsylvania. You have Hershey Park, you have Amish baked goods, and shoe fly pie. Ooh yeah, boom, bullseye. Hit the GoPro right in the face.
Okay. Here's the deal, GoPro. Sometimes you get to ride on Japanese trains.
And sometimes this happens. California is actually split up into 2 candles, and I've actually lived in both. So we have Northern California for my college years, which had kind of like a warm cinnamon apple cider smell, which I don't really think is right. I feel like they could have gone more like redwood foresty.
Yeah.
Or maybe like a Monterey Bay aquarium angle. Yeah, like bay breeze, giant tree. On the other hand, I do think orange, jasmine, and sea breeze works pretty damn well for Southern California, which represents my rest of the 2010s years. Will he slide out?
Oh.
Oh.
Oh. Oh!
Oh wow, that was a true birth. And then to round out the category is our current state, North Carolina. This one has fresh bread in it, and I kind of smell the bread. There are some green notes in here that are supposed to be a nod to North Carolina's trees and mountains, but all I can really smell is sweet treat, which I guess isn't 100% wrong. It's kind of like Waffle House vibes. And unsurprisingly, when I took a first sniff of our concoction, chocolate. A little extra sweet too, but chocolate. I guess we'll see how long that lasts. All right, so next up is our New England category. Bring on the maple and the apples. What was that? Not me motorboating New England. Sorry if you live there.
Or you're welcome.
Or you're welcome. And we have 5 New England candles here, which were on the whole very autumnal scents. Literally, an apple cider blast. Kind of like leafing country. Massachusetts was probably the sweetest of the bunch, with apple cider, cinnamon, and donut. I'm not gonna say it doesn't smell like Dunkin'. It kind of smells like Dunkin'. There was also a coffee top note in there that could have been a little stronger. As we all know, Boston loves coffee, hates tea.
Boston Candle Party.
Connecticut's apple, clove, and maple are definitely serving Stars Hollow Fall Festival to me. That is probably the highest compliment I can give. It is giving Gilmore Girls autumnal vibes. While New Hampshire's apple, clove, and cinnamon skew a little more liquefied Michael's Craft Isle. Yeah, apple cider Michael's vibes, which is also a scent I enjoy. And then Maine is one of the few candles in this category that's not full apple cider. It's a little more like foresty, seashorey, like outdoorsy. And Rhode Island's kind of in the middle, as it has cinnamon, apple, and seashore.
Oh!
Oh my God, we've already created like an ocean of wax down there.
Yeah.
I guess we're going for New England meets Island Boy. But overall, the New England category was basically just a major injection of cinnamon. It's just sweet from here. I can stick my face in it, I'll do it, but it's already sweet. So let's move on to our next category, Tri-State. Now, I think there are actually 2 or maybe even 3 sets of states that consider themselves the Tri-State, but I'm pretty sure it always includes New Jersey. New Jersey is the most key. New Jersey is the must for the Tri-State category.
It is kind of like the linchpin.
It is. It's the axis of Tri-State. But since Pennsylvania and Connecticut are already in, we're gonna call New York, New Jersey, and Delaware our Tri-State. It's basically forget about it country. All right, New York, we're going. New York actually has shades of the New England category, as it's another cinnamony, appley, and pumpkin-y smell. I would say it smells more like New York State vibes than like New York City, but the apple kind of covers New York City, right? Because it's like the big apple. Literally, it smells like apple. Delaware is supposed to smell like vanilla, orange zest, and honeysuckle. Delaware's kind of like a neutral smell. It kind of like smells like a really nice Holiday Inn. Yeah, just kind of like pleasant and neutral, I would say. So, sorry, Delaware. That's all I got for you. And though I would say New Jersey as a state definitely leaves an impression.
Does it smell like gym tan laundry?
It does not smell like gym tan or laundry. It also does not smell like Teresa Giudice's head. The scent is a little more understated than the content. It has kind of like a little bit of like a cinnamony, like clovey vibe, and then like a little bit of maybe boardwalk sweets. But I think there's enough candy apple, sugar, and sea breeze to convey Jersey Shore. All right, should we stick our face in the Tri-State? Yeah. Should we try it out? I feel like the Cinnabon vibes are increasing. Yeah, it's like piercingly sweet right now. We'll see if the coastal South has anything to say about that. This category feels thinner than it is because North Carolina already went in and Virginia is sadly AWOL, but we do have Georgia. Hello there. There's been a murder in Savannah, Georgia. Which unsurprisingly smelled like peaches. Kind of smells like warm peaches. Peaches and maybe like a hint of like something a little crisp, maybe like a mint. Which, via my extensive time spent in the Atlanta airport and watching Real Housewives of Atlanta, I'm cool with. South Carolina was a very floral smell, kind of like sunscreeny floral, like creamy floral, with hibiscus, magnolia, and orange flower. And Tyler was joking when I pulled out the Maryland candle.
Crab cakes football?
But I was impressed with how crab adjacent it did kind of smell. It does like literally have like a spice to it. Cumin is definitely in there and I definitely smell it, but I feel like I can like hallucinate a like ghost of a scent of like an Old Bay seasoning, a crab cake, like a savory spiced seafood product. Honestly, the scent does end up being a little strange, like it can't really decide if it's savory or sweet, but I always appreciate commitment to the bit. Now heading down the 95 and then turning west a little bit, next up is our Gulf States category. Kind of like moving around.
Down the 95, now we're on the 10.
10, yep, it's the 10. We have 4 of these guys, and though they do all smell a little different, this one smells crazy. Don't tell Homesick that. There is a scent through line of lime, moss, and just like wet. And that paired with the warmth from the ovens made it like an immersive Gulf experience. It smells so strange. The leather and like whatever wet thing is in Mississippi like kind of smells like a pool. Like literally a pool.
It does smell like a pool.
Right?
Yeah.
Alabama is the only one in the category that smells a little different. It has more sugar, pecan, and blackberries.
Ooh. Roll Tide, baby.
It smells a little bit like the inside of a Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
Sugar nuts. Florida is very wet, with literal notes of mangrove wood and Spanish moss, as well as some Florida orange. This one gives like sunscreen vibes to me. It has like maybe like a vague creamsicle smell, but mostly pool. All right, how about a little MISSISSIPPI action? And Mississippi was probably the most wet of them all. Not in a bad way, like lovingly, a little swampy.
Yeah.
Hotel with an indoor pool in the middle. I think it's the water lotus and lime. And then Texas, I would say, had kind of a damp saddle smell with moss, leather, and pine needles. He is a weird leather one in the back.
Yeah. It's a leather daddy.
He's a leather daddy?
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that? We're rebranding Texas as Leather Daddy. I definitely see the vision, but the odor is interesting to say the least. Why am I tasting the air? I'm not sure. The brew is getting weirder, guys. So next up we have the Mountain South category, which basically encompasses Appalachian, Smoky, Blue Ridge, and Ozark mountain states. And the scents are sort of divided into mountainy and sweet. Oh, whoa, different smell coming out of there.
Peppery.
Peppery, it smells like as a unit, they smell peppery. I think Kentucky is actually the peppery culprit in here. Kind of like outdoorsy. It's almost cilantro-y.
Little cilantro-y, yeah.
Herby, peppery, green smell. It doesn't actually have any peppery notes in it, so I don't really know where that's coming from. Maybe just a really dry bourbon. And Tennessee's sandalwood, patchouli, and tonka bean gave off kind of like a sweet Dollywood cabin vibe. And even though it wasn't technically in there either, it also smelled, leathery for sure. Maybe I could use a little more whiskey, but like I definitely smell like that sort of cowboy boot. All right, let's take Arkansas out. I mean Arkansas, it's okay, I know how to say it. Arkansas is definitely on the sweet side of things. Oh, that's like a Jelly Belly like popcorn smell.
Oh yeah.
With cream, sugar, and pecan. There's wax on my face.
Yeah.
I felt it. It landed on my mustache.
Oh, little speed wax.
Oh, rip it off. Really quick, rip it off. And then West Virginia's butter, praline, and honeysuckle, ooh, it's the John Denver special, is also very sweet. Almost like a mountain pancake smell. Maybe a little bit more outdoorsy than just sweet, but overall, mapley. And after taking a little interstitial sniff, I think things were either getting balanced out or starting to compete. Okay, the sweetness has been bolstered, but also those against the sweetness have been bolstered. I think the Kentucky candle was like kind of strong, because like something spicy has been awoken. All right, let's head to the Midwest. Don't mind me, just fishing out my wicks. And first up, we have the 6 Great Lakes states, which is kind of like my home turf category. Obviously, my home state of Illinois already went in, but like the rest of the states are kind of like childhood road trip radius.
Right.
So I know these guys pretty well. Turning to the north, we have Minnesota, which has kind of a wintertime Christmas treat smell with peppermint, maple, nutmeg, and cinnamon. For some reason, I was getting like Mall of America like snack vibes.
Okay.
A Cinnabon at the food court in the Mall of America. And then next up we have Michigan. I feel like some Safiya lore we could unlock is that I have been to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, which not everyone has. You know what I mean? I've been up to the UP.
Yeah?
I've eaten a pasty. And this one has a few different scents to it, like cherry, wood, musk, and I think there is a little bit of chocolate in there, maybe some Mackinac Island fudge. They could have maybe leaned into that more. I could have used maybe more pie, you know? Wisconsin actually has more of that pie kind of smell with caramel, butter, cinnamon, and pecan. Only thing it's missing is some cheese, although apparently Wisconsin took great offense to that.
Ooh! Big splash. Oh, that's all over your face. You okay?
It's in my mouth. Oh. Before Wisconsin attacked me, I was gonna say how much I liked Wisconsin and how many fond childhood memories I have at the water parks in Wisconsin Dells, but I got attacked. So maybe those memories are not so sweet anymore. It's okay, Wisconsin. I'll forgive you eventually. Wisconsin, pros. Wisconsin Dells, Door County, cheese, Bath and Body Works lady, cons. Jeffrey Dahmer, this incident. Then turning south and east, Indiana has kind of a floral soapy smell with rosewater, musk, and honey. And though she did try to come for me as well, I dodged that one.
You did dodge that one.
Missouri has a classic like floral department store smell, and I will admit that she's probably not technically a Great Lakes state. I guess she would make more sense if Illinois was here.
Right.
But she had to go in somewhere. And to finish off the category, we have Ohio representing Lake Erie, a state that brought us many a YouTuber. From the Pauls to the Patricks, from Jake and Logan to Matt Pat. And it has kind of a light floral linen-y hotel smell with carnation and sage leaf. And with our vat of wax deepening into its own Great Lake, the 6th Great Lake, this pot, it's time for us to move on to the Great Plains states, which we're calling everything west of the Great Lakes until you hit the Rockies. This oven smells really good, actually.
It does, yeah.
It smells a lot like our ice hotel candle.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like the snow, fir, pine vibe. You could either Franken these 3 or buy our ice hotel candle.
That's a good deal.
I think North Dakota is the one that smells the most like our ice hotel candle. This one smells really good. Which makes sense since it's the most north with fresh snow, clove, and spruce needles. I have never been to North Dakota, but if it smells like this, I will go. There were a few candles in this category which were more fresh and airy, like wide open spaces, like South Dakota.
That smell like Theodore Roosevelt's face?
It does not smell like Theodore Roosevelt's face. It smells a lot like Febreze. This one had lavender, prairie crocus, and river water, which came right back up to smack me in the face. All right, that got me in the face again. I wasn't ready for it that time. I should have known. I don't know if I can keep cleaning myself up.
No.
We're just gonna have to keep going.
Yeah.
You're just gonna have to be exposed to my weird Illinoisan ways. Kansas was also kind of giving Febreze with bright and airy notes like lemon, sunflower, and rainwater. Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore. We're in a giant vat. And Nebraska does have a little bit of a weird mix of leather, hay, and soap. It's really giving like new car smell. Like very clean rental car vibes. One of our producers is from Nebraska and she does not like the Nebraska candle. I personally don't mind it. It's kind of addicting, like I kind of like it. Though apparently Nebraska's latest tourism slogan is Nebraska. It's not for everyone, which I guess extends to this candle. And then we have 2 sweet candles. Iowa's almost like a sweet fruit pastry smell, kind of like cherry-ish, sort of. I was expecting corn. I did not receive corn. I received cherry. I think it might be the bourbon doing a cherry sort of thing. And then Oklahoma is super sweet with caramel, butter, and pecan. Whoa, super sweet, like a cinnamon roll. Maybe we should send him to New England. And with all that in, I think it's time to scale the mountains. All right, so our next category is Mountain West, kind of like big sky country. And unsurprisingly, there's a lot of similar scents in these bad boys, as sandalwood, spruce needles, snow, and cinnamon are in almost all of them. Whoa, this oven smells spicy. Wyoming is probably the strongest smell of the bunch. Whoa, leather, Leather Daddy. Watch out, Texas. Wyoming is coming for your Leather Daddy crown. With the campfire, pine, and clove just giving dude. Dude ranch and just general dude. Both. Montana's lemon, fresh snow, and peppermint are kind of giving air freshener vibes. I was gonna talk about how I have been to Glacier National Park before, but for some reason when I saw the word Montana, I just thought Hannah. And my brain went, oh, yeah. You know, the like interstitial noise? Then next up is Idaho. No, you. Which has a generally sweet, powdery, outdoorsy vibe. I kind of wish there was a potato somewhere in there. Homesick, we could have put a potato in. Just a little starch could have been cute. And I thought Colorado smelled really good actually, as it was very heavy on the spruce and cedar. Piney. Very tree-y. Utah didn't have the strongest smell, but it was kind of nice, pleasant, cold, and fresh. Not too latter-day anything, but, you know, maybe if you sniffed a Real Housewife of Salt Lake City, she might smell like this. If anyone's nearby Lisa Barlow, just give her a sniff and let me know what she smells like. All right, let's disengage from the mountains and bring on the Southwest.
Southwest flavors, baby.
We got some Southwest flavors going on.
Bobby Flay specialty.
Now, since New Mexico is sadly not here yet, we have 2 southwestern states to melt, and I actually really liked both of these guys. Arizona has blue agave, lime, and orange, but the X factor was definitely the sand note in there. I kind of get that vibe. Like, it kind of smells like a hot rock. And Nevada was also pretty fresh and ironically even a little watery, with agave and cactus blossom. It's almost giving like pool scent, maybe hotel pool or indoor fountain. Ooh. We specifically tried to make our Vegas casino candle have the tiniest bit of an indoor fountain smell with like a little ozonic note. This candle doesn't really smell like our Vegas casino one, but like I do get a little bit of like a, you know, indoor fountain inside of a casino vibe. And then following our Southwest flavors, we have our Pacific states. Now, since California already went in and Oregon and Washington State have abandoned us, in this category we just have Alaska and Hawaii. Hawaii is definitely a tropical island smell. Kind of like exactly what you would expect in a good way. Like coconutty, sunscreeny, like that's the vibe for sure. And Alaska's spearmint, spruce, and moss are kind of giving definitely like glacier air freshener vibes. Yeah. A little dude-like. And with all those into the pot, honestly, I might be hallucinating like a minty smell. I guess like kind of like all those like waters, fresh waters, glacier waters, cactus blossoms. Something fresh is creeping up on us. Which sounds good to me, but I do worry about all that cinnamon lurking below. And our last category is our long-awaited missing states category. And there are 6 states that we ended up not being able to find the actual Homesick candles of. But Homesick does have a lot of other candles that are either like city-scented or college-scented or like general vibe-scented that we were able to cobble together like an appropriate scent for each state we were missing. There were a few that seemed like pretty straightforward replacements. Like in place of Louisiana, we have our LSU Baton Rouge candle, whose Cajun spice, morning dew, and oak moss feel pretty well representative to me. And the wick slid in like a little gator. And in place of our Virginia candle, we're gonna do a combo of the Virginia Tech Blacksburg candle and the Washington, D.C. candle. So we have Nova and Restova. Washington, D.C. pretty much smells like cherry blossoms and, yeah, kind of concrete-y. Kind of smells like a slab of marble. You know what I mean? Like the Washington Monument or something. And the Virginia Tech candle has a pretty strong floral scent, with honeysuckle, primrose, and hokeystone. In the tradition of something in our Franken videos smelling like the gift shop at Colonial Williamsburg, I was hoping this could be the one, but sadly, it doesn't really smell like the gift shop at Colonial Williamsburg, but it has like a little powdery floral in there maybe. It is like 4 hours away. And then for the rest of the missing states, we had to get a little more theoretical. Like in place of Vermont, we have our ski trip candle. I feel like the vibes and the scent just like perfectly match Vermont. You know, there is some like skiing in Vermont, but also it just kind of smells like a sweet Christmas cookie. And then for New Mexico, we mixed 2 theoretical candles. The road trip candle. Tyler and I actually drove through New Mexico on our cross-country road trip, so it seemed right off the bat. Wow.
Mesa. Bobby Flay's Mesa Grill.
And the box art for road trip was like literally like New Mexico mesas. All right, watch out, watch out, watch out. Woo! And the Bonfire Nights candle, which we chose because the scent notes, incense, Palo Santo, and smoked embers just seemed kind of perfect. Minus chilies. No chilies, that's a loss, but pretty good. And then in place of Oregon, we have our Gone Hiking candle. It has pine, ivy, moss, and fresh waters. So there's a little bit of like a Pacific Northwest dampness.
Yeah.
And it just seemed to match the outdoorsy Oregon spirit. Yeah, like kind of like Portland, Mount Tabor vibes. Gone hiking. And then for Washington State, we have Wild Forage, which also definitely has that Pacific Northwest moisture. There's moss in there, there's soil in there, there's mushrooms. Like it's very wet and earthy. There is also potato leaf in here. So I don't want to hear about how we couldn't put potato in Idaho. And then don't be mad, the second candle I picked for Washington State is San Francisco. I know San Francisco is not in Washington State. I know it is in California. I know that. But with notes like coffee, sea wave, and sea moss, it is kind of giving Pike Place. The scent notes justify it to me. You guys, it's right. It's definitely right. And with that, all of our candles are in our melting vat. Should I stick my head in there?
Stick your head in.
I mean, I might as well. I'm already covered in wax. And it was time to give our mixture a final pre-mix sniff. Spicy? Maybe? There are so many different scent notes in there, it's almost hard to like smell anything besides just like a wall of odor. Sweet, spicy, maybe mushroom. I can't tell. So I guess we didn't necessarily glean much, but I can say I don't think it will end up smelling like mushrooms. Now, our melting pot was on like low heat pretty much the whole time, so most of the chunks of wax that went in early in the pouring melted naturally as we went, but there were still a few solid bits we needed to obliterate. See, this guy? He looks like a pool buoy. Who is this? Who are you? He's just floating. So we cranked up the heat just a little and left our pot to melt for a few minutes. And when we came back, the chunks were all gone. And after scraping the bottom of our vat for any stray wicks that snuck through during our melting process, hello.
Oh, that's a lot.
Jackpot. We gave our cauldron a quick stir to make sure our flavors were even throughout, which was accompanied by an ominous rumble.
What are we brewing in here?
What are we summoning right now? I don't even want to think about what that means. Now, as for where we were going to put all of this wax, we had actually commissioned a custom lower 48 contiguous state-shaped candle mold from our friends at Raleigh Reclaimed, and I do think it ended up looking pretty awesome and giant. We were going for like kindergarten educational carpet vibes, or like state map placemat vibes, and I feel like we have achieved that. It is made of finished wood, which isn't that crazy of a material for a candle vessel actually, but let's be real, this main giant candle is mostly a novelty item and not really meant to be burned unsupervised anyway. And with our mold in and fully wicked, it was time to raise our pot high into the air on our scissor lift so we could pour the wax down into our mold.
I like how this has become like our method.
I mean, Evan knows what he's doing, so I'm taking what he said and we're doing it again. All right, let's turn on our spigot and open the floodgates. Oh, a little stream? Oh, it's starting. Now at first, everything seemed like it was going fine.
And that's the first layer everywhere.
But pretty quickly, our wicks started falling all over the place. Oh, We had kind of lined up our wooden skewers to hold a number of our wicks in a row, sort of like a giant version of how you can use popsicle sticks to hold the wick of a smaller candle, but it just wasn't strong enough against the tide of Franken formula.
Do you want to stop at the stream, Safiya, for a second?
Yeah.
Do you need a fork? I can go get a fork.
So we had to take a brief pause to triage the wick situation and tape the skewers down in place to hold the wicks upright as tightly as possible, which, after a few tense minutes, seemed to work just fine. So we're all good. All right, brief wick taping intermission over.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
Yes. The stream is back, baby.
Now, during our intermission, a small film had already developed in our mold, but our running hot wax was able to break through.
There's something kind of like geological about this right now. There's even like a weird tectonic plate over on the right.
Yeah, there's a lot happening under the surface. It was kind of like a Yellowstone supervolcano simulation.
Oh, it pierces the surface.
Yeah.
The frozen surface of Minnesota.
And even though it probably didn't matter that much, I did try to get rid of the top film altogether by slowly moving my hose all around the country. The vessel's not clear, so you can't really tell.
No, it doesn't matter. This is just for us.
This is just for us to have a nice, smooth candle experience. And after a few minutes of slow and deliberate hosing, I think we were looking pretty full. So I turned off our spigot and did my requisite tinkering just to make sure everything looked as good as it possibly could. Yeah, I just want to make sure they're like standing as straight as they will.
You're like a giant Mount Rushmore face.
Me and Teddy are. And once I was content with the wick of it all, we filled up our 30 mini candle tins for our subscriber giveaway, which I'm not gonna lie, are looking pretty cute. But the question still remains, what are they gonna smell like? So we're gonna leave this to harden overnight, and also give me some time to go home, shower, and smell some other things before I come back and tell you what it actually smells like. But I would say this was a successful melting of Homesick State representative scented candles. It's the Franken-State, people. We're entering a state of Franken, or we are in one. We're way in one. See you guys in the morning. All right, so it's the next morning, and I think our giant Franken-State candle has dried, solidified. There's a little bit of a gap between the wax and the wood, but it's pretty even all around, so we're leaving it. So basically our next step here is to remove our sticks and cut the wicks. Shall we?
Yes.
De-stick first, de-wick second. After our taping debacle, the sticks seem to have done a pretty good job of keeping our wicks upright, except for maybe this one around Corpus Christi, Texas. I think this wick got pulled over a little bit, so it's kind of close to the wood. So we're gonna have to watch this one. Maybe we light that one last and blow it out first.
Yeah.
And though trimming down our many wicks did give the candle a bit of a stubbly vibe.
Just like hair follicles.
Ew, don't say that. It was time to light it up, which we did starting in the center and then moving out from the middle, just to really make sure the whole wooden mold thing really was okay. All right, I got Texas, Florida, and Maine.
Let's do it.
Let's do Maine first, maybe? Yeah. And honestly, it does look pretty cool like this.
It looks like a birthday cake.
It kind of feels like a birthday cake. But in order not to ruin the design too much, I wanted to let it burn just enough to unleash the scent and then blow it out really fast. All right, I think we burned it.
Yeah.
I think the candle was lit.
Yeah.
Shall we blow it out?
Go for it.
Which seemed like a foolproof plan. Oh, whoa. Oh, they came back. Until I blew just a little too hard over the Midwest. Oops, a little spray. I kind of sprayed over Appalachia. I apologize. But after all of our hard work, it was finally time to give our big ol' candle the sniff of truth. Okay, I feel like we did activate some of the scent. And while I'm sniffing, let's take a walk through our statistics of the scent notes in our final candle. Now, across our 54 candles, we had a total of 412 listed scent notes, and my first impression was very vanilla-y, very sweet, but with like something else going on. Our biggest category by far was sweet notes, like vanilla, amber, tonka bean, and sugar, which made up 25% of our total mixture. After that, there's a big jump down to the rest of the scent notes, and the middle of the pack is kind of evenly split. But the next thing I smell are the 41 spicy notes. There's no question that the sweet, baked good, cinnamon, maple vibe of New England is present. Like, that's definitely present. And though the fruity notes only make up 5% of our mixture, I do think they are also present in the apple cidery Northeast vibe. But New England isn't the only thing making itself known. Oh, it's not like a full-on like dude-ish scent, but I actually smell a lot of the woods and spiced like forest vibe. As the mountain states with their wave of woods were definitely peeking through. Yeah, kind of like lodgy vibes. Cabin-esque vibes, which I think when paired with the 31 citrus notes and 22 watery notes can lean a little car air freshener, but we're gonna go with cabin for now. Also high on the list are the 45 floral notes and the 41 musk notes. Oh no. But those are overall not too present in the smell, at least for me. I think that it could have turned out a lot worse. Actually, I think it's good. If I had to say which states were the most prominent, I think it's New England for sure, as well as the Mountain West. But also, like, I do smell a hint of Buc-ee's. Like a little sweet treat. And maybe a creamy nut from somewhere down south. Leafing in New England, but suddenly a Buc-ee's appeared. But just in case my nostrils are untrustworthy, which is possible, we're gonna send a little tiny Franken-State candle to some other people to also smell. So our guest smellers to keep me in check are Matt and Steph Pat, who came to our studio to sniff.
You know how they say America is a melting pot? This is the product of that melting pot.
This is the pot where it's been melted.
This is it.
And we also sent two to our Franken Candle crew, Evan and Caitlin, down in Texas.
I'm already starting to smell it.
Yeah, we see a little bit.
Now, right off the bat, some of our smellers seem to like it.
Oh, it's not bad, actually.
It's kind of pleasant.
While some decidedly did not.
It smells kind of weird. Right?
Savory.
I think Caitlin and I were kind of on the same wavelength.
Yeah, I'm mostly getting like light fruitiness and baked goods. Like it kind of smells delicious. It kind of makes me hungry.
Although maybe she got a hint more of Hawaii in hers.
I'm getting some pineapple as well as like some sugar.
Whereas Matt and Steph got the spice.
I'm getting some cinnamony potpourri.
Yes.
Are you, okay, you're getting that.
Certainly cinnamon.
But I think the woods took them more towards the air freshener side of things.
It's not sweet or cloying.
No, it's not floral.
It's a little bit janitorial.
But it took turning the candles on
Is this overkill?
to get everyone more on the same page.
The scent has landed.
Oh, it's quite different. Here, smell this bit of wet wax over here on the side.
I'm getting more baked goods.
Yeah, because they're cooking.
They're cooking.
I get sort of a spiced pear or maybe apple-y kind of vibe, which would make sense because there would be a number of states that I think would pull from apple scents.
I think we as a group may be circling the term apple pie. Sort of a demented apple pie, but an apple pie nonetheless. And when asked what place it reminded them of,
I can nail it in one. It's your aunt's house.
My aunt's house?
Everyone's aunt's house.
I did think it was interesting that all of our smellers described it as a nostalgic scent that reminded them of their home state.
It smells like a southern state to me.
Yeah, it smells like Southern hospitality.
I'd say it smells a little bit like Texas, even though I'm biased.
For me, this is like upstate New York, which is where my grandma was from and where there's like a ton of apple orchards and stuff.
Matt kept muttering something about an old cottage in the Midwest.
The clove and spice is what really reads out, and I think that's why I think of like, oh, cottages, like old cottages.
Have you ever been to an old cottage?
I was raised in an old cottage.
It's a split level in Cleveland.
Suburb of Cleveland, thank you very much.
Which does harken back to the idea that homesick candles are supposed to transport you back home. So in that way, maybe the Franken-State is a real place, or rather, any place.
I'll describe this candle in one word as homey.
Aw, it is kind of homey.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure if that description makes you want this thing, but we do have 30 mini Franken-State candles for our subscriber giveaway. So if you're interested in winning one, make sure you're subscribed, leave a comment down below, and fill out the Google form in the description. And if you end up getting one, let me know what you think it smells like. Also, another shameless plug, our Homesick X Safiya candles are still available for a limited time on Homesick's website. So make sure to check out our spa theme park, Vegas casino, and ice hotel candles there while they last. And with that, I will see you guys next time.